Hi, this is Belinda, your Maryland realtor, and I help people build generational wealth with real estate. So today I am going to talk to you about open houses, what to do, especially if you're a first-time home buyer or even if you have not purchased a home in a very long time, to just kind of let you know things that you should be on the lookout for, and especially the questions that you need to ask because many people so many times you see an open house either by searching through Zillow, with his real Zillow, Realtor.com, and if you do have an agent already has given you access to the MLS view, or your agent has told you that there is an open house this weekend or what have you, so you decide to go and you want to check out the property. It will be best if you do have already some agent, you have representation. So if you have an agent, it will be best that my first recommendation is to reach out to your agent to find out if you can both go and visit that house. And sometimes your agent might not be able to attend the open house, but you can do that. You can go to the open house on your own. But the first thing that I should encourage you to do as you walk into that open house is not to be afraid. No, don't just go there to look at the house. The house can be in a great neighborhood. If you're familiar with the neighborhood, that's great. But if you're not familiar with the neighborhood, so I would encourage that you speak to the listing agent. So more than likely, it will be the listing agent hosting the open house, but it might not also happen. You might see somebody else, another agent. By law, it's supposed to be somebody who has a license who holds that open house, so you can talk to the person who is holding the open house. And if it's not the listing agent, if it's just maybe a co-worker of that listing agent, somebody who works on the team, or somebody who just work in the same brokerage, I will highly suggest that you do ask questions. If you're not familiar with the neighborhood, you ask questions about the neighborhood, and you do ask a lot of questions about the house, because a house can look nice and well, but you need to have a little more detail about the house. So question that I would like for you to ask, and that I would recommend that you ask issue about the house, because according to the law, we're supposed to disclose, anything that we know. When I say we, I'm talking about us as realtor. We are a real estate agent. We are supposed to disclose anything that we know of the house. So if there are some plumbing problems, that's something that you need to know, so that as you put your offer, or as you go and talk to your agent, you can let them know. You can let them know that, well, you know what, I really like this house, but it has X, Y, and Z problems. So I would recommend that you ask a question about big ticket item, big in terms of money, in terms of how it can make or break the deal. So you have the roof. You can ask how recent the roof has been replaced. You can ask about, first of all, the age of the home, which most likely your agent should be able to tell you, because that information should be listed on the MLS. But if you are not aware, you can ask them that question, and then you can ask them about when was the last time that the roof was replaced, when was the last time that the HVAC system was replaced, or if the furnace was replaced recently, if the water heater is still in good condition, if there are some other unknown issues, so such as mold, anywhere, especially in the basement, if there are some plumbing problems, because these things will end up costing you more if you decide to go and purchase the home. And especially if it's a as-is home. As-is home is just as the word basically stipulated. It's you buying the seller is selling the property without making any repair, because oftentimes everyone is not an as is when you do during the inspection, when they found some some default about the house, then you can always go back to the seller and tell them that, well, this X, Y, and Z that needs to be fixed, can you fix them? So when it's an as is, you can still do, and which I always recommend to have an inspection, even if it's just for information purposes, just so you know what you're getting yourself into. So ask questions like that. Ask question about the electrical, system. If it's an older home, the electrical panel, it's a little older. If it has not been remediated to the current standards. So these are the things that you need to know, because you don't want to purchase a home and then a few days or a few months and you have to make this big repair. So ask question. And also ask if you do not have any representation and it is the listing agent actually listing the property. You can ask them if they're the listing agent in this property that's the hosting an open house. And if they're not, they'll be able to tell you that, well, you know what, I'm just hosting this open house for my colleague because he or she was unable to attend, so I step in to fill the shoes. And in that case, if it's a listing agent and you don't have any representation, I will tell you not to divulge anything, especially when it comes to your finances. If you really like the house, I would not recommend that you talk and divulge everything to that listing agent, because that listing agent is basically working for the seller. So he or she has the best regard for the seller, because he or she has a fiduciary responsibility to the seller and not you, the buyer. But if it's not the listing agent, if it's just a colleague or somebody who works in the same brokerage as the listing agent who's holding the open house, you can basically ask them also, the same questions, in terms of also, why, the house is being listed, you can ask those questions, those minute questions. Don't be shy. Don't feel that you don't need to ask questions, because sometimes, if you want to find out, why they're selling the home, is there something wrong with the home? Is there something wrong with the neighborhood? So you just need to know. It's just for your information purpose, so that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into should you decide to purchase that property. So if you do not have any representation and it's not the listing agent who is basically hosting the open house, then you can ask them if they are willing to represent you. And then I'm saying that if they're willing to represent you, just so that your interest is protected. Ask them if they can represent you, and then maybe get the card so that you can interview them. You can interview them. You can tell them that, well, can I give you a call, after your open house, so that I can see if you're a best fit, as I am looking for a home. And then you can go ahead and interview them. I have a video about how to hire your real estate, so you can ask them those questions that are pertinent, especially to you, general question and questions that are very pertinent to you, to see if that's going to be a good fit. Because many people come to open houses who are not represented, and then they come and divulge all the information to the listing agent, and thinking that that listing agent will have the best interest at heart. They will tell them. So let's say, let's just give an example. So the house is listed for $400,000, and you ask the listing agent, oh, well, I really like this house. Actually, I'm pre-approved for $450,000, but I really like this house. So how low do you think the owner will go? And then the listing agent will just tell you, well, you know what, the seller is really motivated and really wants to sell this house as fast as he can. Oh, okay. So can I put an offer for $400,000? And then the listing agent will be like, okay, fine, put an offer. And the listing agent will go back to the seller and say that, well, you know what, this person was really interested in buying the house and is actually being pre-approved. He or she told me that he was pre-approved for $450,000. And then the seller will get back to you, and then, to the listing agent, say that, well, you know what, I reject your offer. Actually, I will want probably 425 or 435, and then you're like, oh man, but I really like the house. And then later on you come and find out that the listing agent divulged that information, and then you are furious, why he or she say that. But you need to understand that they have a fiduciary responsibility to the seller, because it's the seller that's basically paying them, and you coming in, especially not being represented, and wanting them to represent you so they can divulge all that information to their client. So it's very important that you get some representation, and if the listing agent is actually the person hosting the open house, and if you don't have any agent, maybe you can ask them, well, do you know of somebody that can represent me during the purchase of this home? Because you do not have to pay the your buyer's agent. 98% of the time, you do not have to pay them a dime. It's the seller who basically pays the commission that the listing agent splits with the buyer's agent. So ask and ask and ask away question. Don't be shy, and just go for it. So I hope this has been very helpful for you, and please let me know if you would like for me to talk about something else, or if you have comments, questions, and things of that nature. So I will gladly answer them. So please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel so I can talk to you more about real estate. All right, so this is Belinda, and I help people build generational wealth with real estate. I'll talk to you later.